I started out playing the violin and being part of a elementary school with a lot of music and choir, especially. And so choir music was always there for me. And then I went into high school with that and wanted to continue. So I went to a high school with a choir profile where I also had some jazz and classical singing lessons and stuff like that. And then I really wanted to delve into jazz music, so I studied that like for a very focused couple of years in something that is called folkhögskola, like a pre-college that we have in Scandinavia. And I did that for 3 years, actually. Plus I had 1 year in Georgia, in the US, actually. And then it just evolved and I started singing more on my own and continued with that into musical university in Stockholm, Royal College of Music, where I studied jazz vocals for 4 years, actually. So, yeah, that's my educational background.
So I've played music since I was about 2 and been to a lot of schools, after school programs with music. And then I studied at high school. I studied vocals, solo vocals. And after that, I've played a couple of different instruments. So I've just been, bouncing back and forth, freelancing with a lot of different instruments. And then I also went to the Royal College of Music, where I studied jazz trumpet. Yeah, and that's me.
Yeah, my musical background. Well, I've been singing my whole life, actually. I went to the same primary school as the original members of the TRG, the regroup members. So choir music has always been in my life. And after that, I went to a high school, a music high school, together with Axel, actually. So went to the same vocal program. And after that, when I graduated, I've been just freelancing, actually. So I never went to a boarding school or university. I've been just, being on the field. Yeah, so to speak. Yeah, that's it, I think.
I found my music interest later in life. Specifically, I started playing the guitar around after high school. A friend taught me some stuff, and I thought it was really nice. And so that's where my music interest really started. And so after high school, I worked just to make money, make a living. And so all of a sudden, I just felt like maybe singing would be fun. So I applied for a choir here in Stockholm, a pop choir, and I loved it. And it was so much fun, and I got to just dive into my interest, and singing was so much fun. And I realized, oh, I actually have a voice, even though it's a bit deeper, not up there like everybody else. But so I applied for, what did you call it, pre-college school, kind of, here in Sweden. Went to the school where they actually have a vocal group oriented what do you call it, education. And so I studied there for 2 years, a lot of real group and all kinds of vocal groups. And it was just so much fun. And that's where I got to learn a lot of theory and just explore music. And did that for 2 years and then studied some other stuff, and I ended up here.
I started playing the piano when I was 10 or something like that. And then a few years later, I started singing, and I studied singing in high school. And after that, I also went to the same school as Daniel, the pre-college one. Studied vocal music and did that for 2 years and got really, really hooked on the a cappella thing. And after that, I studied vocal teaching. So there was 5 years of studies in Malmö. And then I ended up here in Stockholm after that. So I've been teaching for a few years, and then I started here and I moved to Stockholm.
So for me, I didn't notice there was an audition on their Facebook. I think it was. It was kind of subtle, not out there, so everybody knew about it. And I had been listening to the Real Group, of course, for a long time. So I'm surprised I didn't notice there was an audition because I would have applied, but it just happened so that Anders Eneroth actually called me because I happened to meet him a few times when I studied vocal group music. He came and had workshops with us, and so somehow he recognized me or remembered me, and so he gave me a call and was like, "Yeah, we're auditioning for new members." And I was like, "Oh, really?" Really surprised. I didn't know anything about it, so it just came out of nowhere, and it went really fast. He told me they're interested in me, and I was like, how do you even know who I am? What's this about? So him and Katarina, they wanted to meet me, and so I met them for a lunch, and we spoke for like 1.5 hours. And then they were like, yeah, we want you to come and audition. Come sing in my apartment where he had this little setup and a piano. And so the next day or something like that, I went and sang and recorded a lot of stuff. And then a few days later, they called me and said, do you want to be part of the Real Group? And I said, yeah, of course. So it went really fast. It was just, and so unexpected, but yeah.
Yeah, for me it was actually this thing that someone recommended me to apply because they saw this audition post on Facebook, and I went and wrote a nice email because I was like, of course I want to write this email. Maybe I won't get a response, but I will do it. And didn't think more about that. But then I got a text from Katarina Henderson, and I was like, okay. So she wants to like have a little coffee over Zoom with me and talk. So I did that with her and Anders Edenroth. And it was crazy because more and more they were like talking about, you have to kind of keep December free, if that's okay. Like not giving me the spot yet, but still talking as if I kind of got it. So that was confusing for a few weeks until I did an audition. Also, I went to their place and sang a song. I think we all sang Pass Me the Jazz and some improvisation and a folk tune. And then I got this same call that you got. And at that time, you guys were many of you were already chosen. So yeah, that was really, really fun.
Yeah, and if I can add on that story, because me and Clara went to the same school, the Royal School of Music, and studied jazz, although I, as I said, studied trumpet and you sang. And they had a short vocal group ensemble that you could take for just a half year. And I emailed the school and said, if you need some male singers, I could be a part of that group if you'd like me to. And I did that ensemble with Clara for a half year, and they uploaded our final concert where we did some Christmas music. And I think during your audition process, Anders found that video, and he thought that, who's that guy singing bass? And that's how he found me. I just got an email someday where he asked if we could meet or have a phone call. And then I actually did the audition as the bass singer. And he went to my studio and we sang a bit. And then he said, well, you can sing the bass, but we have another guy who also really, really can sing the bass. So maybe you want to join as a baritone instead. So that's sort of my way of just, slipping in.
Yeah. So it's kind of thanks to me that you're here, right? No. It was good that we took that course, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for applying.
Exactly. No.
Do you want to continue?
Yeah, maybe. Well, what happened? Yeah. A year ago, yeah. I got a phone call and I was like, I don't recognize this number. And I was like, I gotta Google it up. And then I just saw Anders Edenroth. And I was like, what the heck? I think he's from the Real Group, I think. Like, okay, why is he calling me? Like, because I know him, but I was like, why is he calling me? So I called back and he was like, yeah, I've heard bunch of clips on YouTube and stuff like that, and you sing really good. And I was like, thank you, yeah. And then he was like, yeah, could you, if I just send you the score to Pass Me the Jazz and remove the alto part, could you just like record your the alto part just for me to hear it? And I was like, okay, I can do it. And it was just, I had a vacay that weekend, or that week. So, and after that, I was like, a cappella. I haven't sung in a choir for so long. And I think you were like, you got to record it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then I recorded it and sent it to him, and he was like, we really dig this. So if you want to join the regroup, would that be interesting for you? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, so that's my story.
Should we add maybe that there's like a chain reaction here, because it started with Clara for the three of them, because she applied, and then through Clara they found Axel, and through Axel, because Axel knows Joanne from before, so they found Joanne through Axel. So it's been like a cool chain reaction here.
Exactly.
All thanks to Clara.
Yeah.
All thanks to Clara. Exactly.
It's not because of me.
Yeah, I think so.
I've been joking around for like many years that when it's time for Anders to retire, I'll be there to take his spot. So when I saw the post on Facebook that they were looking for new people, I immediately applied. And just before the pandemic, Anton Forsberg was singing baritone in the group, and we also sang together in Touché. And Anton was asked by Anders to sing a duet with someone at a concert, and he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said yes, of course, I want to sing in front of Anders Edenroth. So I did that a few years before this happened, and Anders really remembered that. So after I applied, he like called me the same day as I applied and was like, "Yeah, we're really interested in you, and let's keep in touch." And then he and Katarina had me on hold like for a month or so. Like I was like, am I getting it? Am I getting it? And then they called me on my 30th birthday and asked, do you want to be part of the real group? And I said, yes, finally.
What a great gift.
Yeah. So that was nice.
Yeah. And it was actually really special because none of us had actually sang with each other before. It was the pandemic. We couldn't meet. So all of us just, recorded some sound bites in, Logic or something. And the first time we met, we already had the job. So we really didn't know how we were going to sound together before, we actually had the gig. One thing that, for me, the Real Group does a lot is jazz, of course. They sing a lot of Swedish choir music and Swedish folk music and old traditional Swedish songs. So those aspects and those kinds of music is very important to still have. But apart from that, I think a big thing about the Real Group is that they are very open to new things. So they've done looping stations, and they've done pop, and they've done rock. They've done basically everything. So I think a big responsibility that we have is to be open to new things and to give you our influences as well. But I think definitely that there is a responsibility of having that kind of traditional Swedish choir music and jazz vein alive.
We've been working a lot with, especially Anders Edenroth in the beginning when we started out rehearsing and learning the old repertoire, and I think it's safe to say that Anders put a lot of trust into our ability, and he wants us to try new things and to be ourselves and add to the Real Group.
And we all have a lot of musical background, but at the same time we absorb like everything that he and Katarina has said to us during especially during the fall when we rehearsed with them. They were singing at the Christmas tour with us, so that was like many hours of rehearsal together with those two original members, which also made us kind of like really connect to the history of the real group. And still, as you said, we can develop into new ways, new directions, and do our thing. But I think it's a combination of wanting to learn from the originals and also continue in new directions.
I felt kind of a relief once because I think I speak for all of us when I say that we all want to keep the tradition alive of the real group and the sound and everything they've done and all the great music. But also, I think we were preparing some for the Christmas tour. We made like a Spotify list and, what do we want to sing? Oh, I love this real group song and I love this song. And we just added a bunch of real group classics. And so we presented them to Anders, I think, at one point, Anders Edenroth, and he was like, great, but guys, I think it's important that you start thinking about like not only reusing old songs, also like adding your new stuff. And it was kind of a relief, in my opinion, because it kind of opened the gate of realizing that, of course, we're going to add our own stuff. And it's such a nice way to think of it and just lean back and think, yeah, of course, we want to sing the old real group stuff, but we also have this opportunity of adding our own stuff, and it's just so nice.
There are no real limitations of what we can do. Oh. Right now we get a lot of help from Anders sometimes, but also from Anton Forsberg, who was the baritone just before the pandemic. He's now our manager/booker, and he works with us on that part.
Well, we're still exploring what of the old songs fit our voices. And it's like sometimes we change the keys or realize that this works really well for us, but just like a semitone up. But so that's like a way of exploring what we want to do of the old music. But otherwise, like when we arrange, of course, we will do it on the basis of how our voices work the best, I would say.
And sometimes you two switch, and sometimes we will switch. And you as well, just to make it fit even better.
Yeah, and also we have been rehearsing, as we said, a lot with Anders and Katarina, and a lot of the songs that they have written. So we have had comments in concerts where people have said that you still sound like the real group, because a lot of the phrasing and the vowels and the sounds and everything, they have passed down. So according to at least some people in the concerts, we still have that, the real group sound. Well, when we were in France, where were we? In
Osh.
We went to the King Singers concerts, and they were marvelous. And they're also, as you said, maybe a corporation or an institution is maybe a better word. And they have put themselves in that, they are the new members, but they still sound like themselves. And it's an exciting combination of, being traditionalist and being cutting edge. So that's one group.
Also the same thing with the Swingles. That's another one. They switch members, but they still keep the same sound. I've listened a lot to the Swingles, as well as like Rajaton, of course. Some Swedish groups, Åkervinda.
Vocal 6 was a group from my hometown that was mainly my teachers, many of them, and I listened to them a lot as a kid. That also got me into a cappella music, actually. So, but yeah, Vocal 6, as well as New York Voices and Rajaton.
Take 6, of course.
Take 6, of course.
And like my personal favorite, if we're gonna go way back, it's Lambert, Hendrix, and Ross, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we have one already from Axel on a Gregory Porter tune, which is so much fun to sing because it's also something new for this group in the style, I would say, which we also got a lot of great comments for. So we'll continue like that, like adding our own arrangements, and it's just a matter of time. Like right now, it's so much that we've had to learn in half a year, and so much touring already, like more than 5 countries in a few months, and a lot of Swedish concerts. So yeah, like as soon as we have already started, but as soon as possible, we will start releasing and adding that to our tours, our own arrangements and so.
So now we're back in Stockholm, and we've been to. Right now we're to Germany, and we went to France, and before that we went to Turkey. That was nice. But so tomorrow we're going to Gotland, here in an island in Sweden, and we'll do a Gotland tour for 5 days. Yeah.
Well, one part is that we're already starting to be more present on social media. I mean, we are more used to that from before, and we try to upload more from concerts and from our tours, and also music videos and all that in the future. So yeah, we want to do more collaborations with other artists so that you can see that on stuff like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Because that's also a way of like getting a bit of a younger audience, we think. So that's one of the things, of course, like practically. But then musically, of course, a lot of things too.
Yeah, I mean, well, it is a difficult question, and I think we all have quite different answers because there are so many things you can add to that list, and I think we've mentioned a lot of them already. But I mean, generally, all the things you said, but also just, I don't know, keeping up being the real group and being like this free spirit. I don't know, but like Axel said before, like they've done so many things, like crazy things and cool things, and you name it, they've done it all, it feels like. And then there are some spots you have to fill in and also keep up and just do whatever they've done. And that kind of makes it hard to answer, in my opinion, because I don't think they've had a plan like this is what's gonna happen in 10 years, and they've just done their thing and things just happen and it just worked out and became great. And hopefully we'll just do our thing and do our real group thing, and hopefully the best comes out.
And like the most wonderful thing for me, at least during this tour, has been, you know, meeting all of these wonderful people and going to the beautiful places and the beautiful concert hall and getting these impressions. So one thing, I just want to keep doing that. If we can do that for 10 years, especially meet more people, and if we would have our own, you know, new music as well, you know, that would be a dream. Just keep on keeping on.
And also what you said, teaching, like, because we already have the Real Group Academy, but we will take part of that more as new members, and join Katarina, Anders, Morten, Peder on that. And we already had a few workshops with like younger kids, and it was such a great feeling to see that they inspired us. Maybe some of them hadn't heard about us because they're like 15 and they listen to the radio music right now, but they discovered us and now they are like inspired to do it themselves and continue with music because of us. So I look forward to putting a print on younger people.
We are planning right now to do we're contributing to the Real Group Festival, of course. The Real Group is behind it, but mostly it's Katarina Henriksson. She's like the spider in the web, yeah. And right now we're planning the festival. It's between the 18th and 21st of August. And there will be like groups like Rajaton and Swingle Singers will be there. Who else will be there?
Latvian Voices, Gypsy, Rain.
So a lot of voices, a lot of groups, and there will be workshops and yeah, so we're planning that at the moment as well. The concerts that we'll be doing and the workshops.
Yeah.
So yeah, who should we thank? We want to thank the audience for watching this interview. We're nothing without you, as well as thanking all of the previous members of the real group. We're nothing
Yeah.
without you.